Thank you very much for that. And thank you to each one of you for coming back to listen to this crazy South African that's on a worldwide mission to save humanity. Because and slowly, step by step, we are gaining ground. Every day, a few more 100,000 people around the world find out about this movement and find out about what it is we're doing, and they're joining us. And without us even realizing, this is becoming an exponentially growing global movement of consciousness. But I'm going to talk about that tomorrow at the full 3-hour workshop on Ubuntu and contributionism. Today, have we got the images up yet? There. Oh, there's just the copies of the book, so let me not do too much PR. Today, we're going to remind ourselves of where we live. And this is our home. What we do with this planet is up to us. And how we behave and what we leave behind as a legacy for our children is up to each and every one of us. And it begins when we leave here today. When we go through that door, what the message is that we take with us and what we share with all those that we know and those that we don't know become seeds of consciousness, because that's ultimately what it's all about. We cannot carry on waiting for others to try and save us. And I might be repeating myself from yesterday, but it is a very important fundamental reality that we face every second of every day. We are the people we've been waiting for. Keep reminding yourself of this. There will be no other saviors. You are the people you've been waiting for. So please give yourself a round of applause, because you're here at this event. You made the conscious choice and decision to come here to learn more and meet other like-minded people and share this stuff. So I've prepared. I've been working all night. I have not stopped to prepare this for you. No, that was a joke. I'm going to do a very different presentation because. Sorry, and therefore I don't know what the bloody slides are. But I thought I'd do something very different, something that I used to do a long time ago, and it gets slightly more metaphysical and slightly more spiritual, but it is really supposed to be about ancient technology, ancient advanced technology, and the evidence of that. But you can't just talk about ancient advanced technology until you've looked at what the source of that technology is or may be. And when you start looking at the source of that technology and what it possibly was and what we can prove it is and how powerful and amazing and mind-blowing it is, you got to start going back and say, well, where does this technology actually come from? And do we still have the knowledge of it today, or have we somehow lost it? Or is it out there in the ether somewhere? Or how can we tap into it? And you start to realize it's a much bigger story than just, oh, well, here's some proof, ancient advanced technology. Look, here's a stone gun. That's not what this is all about. Because that's not how the ancients worked. And we're only starting to realize that today. Their level of doing stuff was so far different from the way we operate on a daily basis in this. Remember, this is the trap that we find ourselves in, and I'm going to talk about that trap a little bit later, and the fact that it's a real scientific reality that we face and we need to deal with. So where does that beautiful planet of ours come from? Where does the universe come from in that sense? Because we get told that in the beginning there was nothing, and then suddenly out of this nothing, everything in existence appears. And I have a bit of a problem with that, because that doesn't make any sense. And the scientists call it the Big Bang, and religion and spiritual people calls it God or the Creator. And in that moment and that split second, you walk into a very definite science and God dilemma. And the exciting thing is that when you read between the lines, it's the same bloody thing. It's just a misunderstanding of language and misinterpretation of words, of what is really going on out there. The ones don't want to talk to the others, and the other ones are too scared if they talk to them, they might be put in a box, or they were going to get whipped or hung up or quartered or whatever the hell it is. But there's just a mess out there that's being created by the compartmentalization of knowledge and information and the control system that has created the divide and conquer principle that we all suffer from. And that's the problem. So physics tells us, the scientists today tell us that this Big Bang, out of this nothing, it was nothing, and then suddenly all this stuff just came flying out of this thing called the Big Bang. And let me remind you, it remains a theory. Just like the theory of evolution, it remains a theory. But suddenly, somehow, mainstream academia puts it in as a fact. This is how it happened, and this is how it is, and they teach it at school and university. And if you don't write down it's the Big Bang, which is a cause for everything, you're going to fail, and you're not going to get your degree, and you're not going to get a job, you're not going to have a career, and you're not going to get your golden watch at the end of that career. And that's what this is all about? I don't think so. What's fascinating when you start looking at the universe and everything in it, it starts to look like a giant living organism, and you realize it truly is a giant living organism, living, breathing, existing, filled with consciousness, looking very much like parts of our brain and our anatomy. This is the living universe that we're looking at, and it becomes spectacular. And it's very interesting that we talk about evidence of an expanding universe. The universe, or the multiverse, because there are very few researchers and scientists and astronomers today that still believe there's only one universe. It's now pretty much accepted that we're talking about an infinite number of multiverses here, and that this is an expanding multiverse that keeps growing and growing. And so if that's the case, in standard Newtonian physics and science that gets shoved down our throats, we get told that, well, that's not possible because you can't create or destroy energy. It just always exists. Well, let me take you to that moment of the Big Bang and suddenly realize we have a big problem with that. You can't create or destroy energy. Really? Well, where did all this stuff come from? Well, it comes from the Big Bang. Oh, but where does it come from? Well, it's the Big Bang. Well, it doesn't really explain to me what's happening there, right? So if you keep sticking to this Newtonian physics stuff, you're in really deep trouble, unfortunately. So it's very important that we step out of that kind of way of thinking and realize until the moment you embrace multidimensional physics and the new frontier of science, a new frontier of knowledge that crosses all boundaries of knowledge, that does not compartmentalize information, you're going to continue bumping your head against a brick wall and against a dead end. And I had an interesting experience with some of my PhD friends at universities in South Africa, mathematicians and scientists and so forth, who always, my friend Peter phones me. He's got 4 PhDs in science, chemistry, physics, and whatever, mathematics. And every time he phones me with new discoveries, and he says, "Oh, Michael, I think I've cracked the anti-gravity thing." And I say, "Wow, it's amazing, tell me." And he starts explaining this whole long, big formula to me, and I say, and I stopped him the last time I spoke to him. I said, "Peter, do you ever incorporate sacred geometry into your calculations?" And he said, "No, I haven't." And I go, "You know what? I've got a feeling that until you do that and you start incorporating the sacred geometric ratios into these formulas that you're trying to crack, you're not going to make any progress." And there was a silence on the phone, and he said, "I think you're right." And I haven't spoken to him since. I don't know if if he's in another dimension or something. So the problem is with this expanding multiverse that we find ourselves in according to basic normal physics, there's got to be, someone blowing it up, because you can't have something expanding while without something contracting, and clearly there's no evidence for that going on. And this is a huge, interesting problem, because we find that the laws of Newtonian physics break down at the quantum level. And things are not as they seem. And this becomes the most exciting part of this journey of discovery, where we start recognizing the source of this advanced technology that we keep talking about. This ancient advanced technology keeps coming back to the source of all things. It's not some magical thing that we find if we don't understand those fundamental principles that are far removed from what we've been taught in science and physics, we will never understand this advanced ancient technology. And this is where it gets very, very exciting, because we got to start understanding that we are part of this infinite fractal of energies and multiplication of creation through consciousness, and the multidimensional physics that we're starting to read about and talk about and coming to grips with through getting closer to understanding spirituality and consciousness is a very, very exciting journey. So ancient technology is about understanding the source code then we can start making sense of what this ancient technology is all about. And my source code tells me that it's all to do with sound and resonance, because that's what all ancient cultures talk about. You cannot get away from that. It is not possible to try and find something else, because they'll always bring you back to everything in creation comes from the source of sound and resonance when the Creator brought everything forth. And it's this prime resonance frequency that holds everything in creation together in this perfect harmony, so it exists in coherence and not dissonance, because this is the coherent principle of everything existing in harmony. And in there lies a very important lesson for us as human beings, how to coexist in harmony, not in dissonance, in coherent, resonant harmony. That's what this is ultimately all about. And in there then lies the advanced technology of our brain to comprehend this and actually make this a reality for ourselves. And as I showed you yesterday, or whenever it was, the day before, I believe that this is where Star Trek gets this philosophy of the prime directive from, because you can't go against this prime resonance frequency. It's not going to happen. Okay? You're going to be bumping your head against the wall, and eventually it'll cause your own demise. And for those people that believe that there are lots of advanced beings down here trying to help humanity from other dimensions and so forth, which there seems to be some very interesting evidence for as well, I do believe that some of them are actually here because they may realize that they breached the prime directive with what happened here on Earth. That they created a species which has been kept dumbed down, not allowed to expand and grow in their own consciousness, to take their own course in growth in consciousness, to reunite with Source, and this species is being kept dumbed down and prevented from growing in consciousness, and that would be called a breach of the prime directive. So if you do that, you're causing some serious trouble for yourself, because that echoes back onto you as a species, whoever you are, and starts to resonate in dissonance with you as a species or a being. So just to remind you that this resonance and dimensions have got some very interesting numbers and principles around it. 3 is the so-called 3 Holy Trinity. Most of us have come across this. So there's a very interesting example in music, and music is sound. So you can explain this with sound very easily. Because when you play music, it's only when you add the third note to the first 2 notes, you complete the chord. And you complete the beautiful harmonious chord. Until then, it's not a chord. And you don't get the same effect from it. So when you add the third note to it, complete the Holy Trinity of sound, you create your first complete chord. And those chords can reduce you to tears. The music that we hear in movies can make you scared. It can reduce you to tears. It can make you emotional. It can make you excited. You can do all kinds of things with music. And you start to realize how just by simply manipulating, by expanding the third or adding the minor third or adding the seventh or the major or a flattened ninth and all these things to the musical chord structures, you realize how you can very effectively manipulate people's emotions. It's all to do with sound and frequency and resonance. It's spectacular. 7 and 8 are very important numbers because that completes the resonant harmonic octave. 7, the 7th note is the 8th note from the source, and the 8th note is the octave above the 7th note in front of it. And that completes the octave. And in there lies a very interesting harmonic resonance principle in understanding advanced technology, because when we get to the monoatomic gold and what that actually does in terms of advanced technology and how that can be used, you start to realize that 7 hides 8. If you look at a star tetrahedron or a hexagon, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just one is a 2D version of the other. And if you look at a hexagon, 7 and 8 are actually the dot in the middle. The one hides the other. If you twist it slightly sideways, you'll see 7 and 8 and completing the cube inside the circle or the sphere. So just imagine that in your mind. So 7 hides 8. And in there you actually can see, encoded in there is the harmonic resonant principle. For those of you that know music will know what I'm talking about. If you do not have a very well-trained ear in music, if you play the middle C on a piano and you play the C above it, the octave, you close your eyes, you will not know whether you're playing 2 notes or 1 note or 3 notes. It sounds like 1 note. So what I'm telling you is the 7th frequency hides the 8th one, either below it or above it. And so we start seeing how even visually we get very important information about this resonance thing, which is a tool to use in advanced technology, if you understand it. 12 and 13 is just a higher level version of the 7 and 8. Same thing, because you add the 5 black notes, the 5 bad notes, the on the piano, right? And then 22/7 approximates pi. It'll never get there, but it's close enough to make us realize that something very important is encoded in that ratio. And you start to realize that this is all just a few very important lessons in understanding why the universe rings like a bell and vibrates in perfect coherent harmony. And this understanding, the fact that our bodies do this, gives us the very clear indication that we resonate with the universe. We are an infinite fractal of this creation. We are it. We resonate in perfect harmony with everything in creation, and if we don't, then we become diseased and become dis-ease, and that's where these problems come into our lives. So we can connect into the morphogenetic field. And if you have worked or listened to William Brown's presentation on genetics and all that, you'll understand a lot more about that. It's a spectacular lot of information there about the morphogenetic field, the resonance behind everything, and because everything is connected. You cannot separate anything from everything else. And that's the problem we face today, that everything in our lives is compartmentalized. We've become so separated and so segregated on every level that we live in apartments, you know. It's encoded in the wording that's used in every language. And you start realizing that because of this resonance that's encoded in us, because we are infinite fractals of this resonant field and the prime directive, prime creation, we should be able to feel and sense everything. Understand, we all have a sphere of influence around us. You know, we use the words. I walked into a room, there was such a bad vibe in the room. Vibe, vibration, bad vibe. You know, and so we use this in our language, and we don't necessarily always realize what it is that we're saying. So, and one of the great bits of research that Greg Braden made famous and well known is the fact that the measurements and the science that was done on the heart compared to the brain actually shows that your heart is as much as 5,000 times stronger. The frequencies of your heart and the effect of your heart is up to 5,000 times, if not more, stronger than the brain, showing you that the source of your heartbeat. In fact, if you just think about this, if your heart is the thing that keeps pumping, right, and it's a frequency, 72 beats a minute or whatever it is, right? It depends on how fit you are. Every time you feel your heart beat, you can actually feel your connectedness to Source. That's what it is. It reminds you that you're a divine being connected to Source every time you hear your heart beat. So do that next time you feel depressed or want to slit your wrist. Don't do that. Just feel your heart. Know that you're connected to everything around you. It's a spectacular realization. So let's get back to this advanced technology, because I truly believe that sound and resonance are at the foundation of all knowledge and all advanced technology. And if sound is a primordial source of all things, therefore we should be able to do everything with sound, especially advanced technology, blowing people up, blowing planets up, killing everyone. But that's not really what we want to do, is it?